ahead of schedule, I can go back in the agenda and give the floor to Matthias that can present in few minutes the VLAC experience. VLAC is one of the demo, CIF project demo. So please, Matthias, just wait, I give you the floor, Matthias. Okay, good. You can share your screen if you want. Okay, here's your presentation, but you should share also your webcam, please. Okay, good. No, just wait, Matthias, we can hear you. Your microphone is turned off. I'm trying to turn it on. Okay, now it seems it works.
Does it work?
Yeah,
no?
it works.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, hello, hi. So do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you gave me 5 minutes, you told, so I will go in there as fast as possible. Sorry, I was in another meeting, which it wasn't possible for me to shift it. So I go in presentation mode. So do you see it?
Yes, yes.
So how can I minimize the window of? So do you see my the window of the meeting?
Yes.
Everything's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I don't understand how does it work. Oh, so okay, good. I will show you the things we do and plan here in Villach and what we hope to get out of it. In Villach, we focus on quadricycles and e-bikes. So we have 2 of the quadricycles of the JCs here. They are already driving, and we're not in the due to COVID, we're not in the sharing mode right now, but we will start it in about, I think, 1 or 2 weeks. So restrictions are falling from time to time. Second, we go to e-bike sharing. So we try to start this multimodal service solutions with e-bike sharing here. There will be a lot of e-bikes on the streets, more of them. What we have at the front of the e-bikes, there are we call it like like a ball which is locking and charging at the same time. The e-bikes will be all over Villach. In the inner city, there will be 4 stations. To be honest, we are a few of these stations are still not 100% fixed because the provider thinks about better and different places. We have definitely the learning that it is not easy to implement e-bike sharing stations due to all the building works you have to do, all the electricity stuff. We have a lot of regulations in Austria regarding that. This is definitely a learning in the implementation. In addition to these city stations, we have 2 stations for tourists. With that one, we connect the inner city with an e-bike sharing system to 2 very famous lakes in Austria. The JCs are on 3 points, so we offer this sharing system between the main railway station, the Corinthian University, and the Infineon, so the big employer here. You see, this is a very good triangle in Villach. Of course, at these 3 stations where we have the JCs, of course, at these stations we also have the e-bikes. The main railway station, we plan to build it next or in 2 weeks. We had problems there, to be honest. But this is, for us, it was important that on the places where we have the JCs, we also want to have a self-service e-bike sharing system. The thing is that we, from the beginning, we spoke about an sharing system in Villach here, and so we did some modifies at the vehicles. Of course, the e-bike sharing is already a sharing system. It's self-service. It goes via app. So you use your app. You go to the e-bike stations, as you know it from other cities, and you take the bikes. Oh, sorry, this is maybe too fast. And we did the same, almost the same for the JCs. So we implemented a self-service unlocking for the JCs with the Steve app. So you can go, you can use the Steve app. You go to the JC and you take it by yourself, and you don't need some like another person which gives you the key. So both is self-service. In the JCs, we have the top camera, which shows you if there have any vandalism or if you left something in there. My colleagues here in Austria built it in. It's a few funny pics, so I wanted to show you. The same is with the keyless remote access of the Steve app. So with that unit, we can open the car's keyless. We can open it self-service. You use the app for it as you use it for the e-bikes. So you use the app as a key. Gerald built it in, so you see a lot of cables, so I wanted to show you. And when we speak about the service, and I think the service is the most important thing in this project, we have the Steve app where we have the cars and the e-bike sharing in it. The Steve app is you can use it, as I told, for unlocking the cars, for use it as self-service sharing. With this Steve app, we do all the controlled user group evaluation. So we had the first iteration where we test the vehicles, where we tested the modification, where we tested if the bike sharing works, if the sharing of the JCs works, if the unlocking of the JCs works, and all this self-service sharing we tested in the first iteration. We had a small controlled user group. We had employees from Corinthian University, from Infineon, from the city of Villach and the Kellag. So people from this small circle used it. In second iteration, we start the full sharing system. We already do it. We use the Steve app for it. People can use JCs and the e-bikes in a sharing system with self-service. And in addition to the employees, we have an appointed circle of citizens from Villach which will use it, who will use it. What we also plan, and I say it's plan because I think it will cost a few weeks to implement it finally, is the city app. It's a very complex topic. The city of Villach will implement, or the city marketing of Villach will implement an overall app where we can integrate a lot of services and a lot of stuff. We speak about stores, parking, public transportation. We have loyalty systems in there, and so you can. We start with stores. I think next step is parking. Public transportation is possible, but the system is open for it. There will be a loyalty system in it, and you can use the app for events and ticketing, and maybe for e-chargers we spoke. I don't know. So you have a lot of possibilities. You can use the app. So it should be, the plan is over the next year that it should be an open system for a lot of services. So, but now you're asking, hey, what's going on? Why do you tell me about the city app? We integrate the e-bike sharing system into the city app. This is the plan. The thing that, or the benefit we have for Steve is that we integrate for the last month of Steve an open to public system. So we make an e-bike sharing for Villach over the city app in addition to the Steve app, with the loyalty system and gamification things we can implement there. I would say the additional benefit is definitely that we get more data for our evaluation, for the Steve evaluation. So with the city app, we can read out anonymous. It's very important. It's anonymous data, of course, but we can read out the ways of the rides, the date and the time of the ride. So with the city app, we know, or we can indicate for what did people use it. You know, are they commuter, are they tourists, are they students? Was it a leisure trip and a leisure trip? Because you see it on the times, of course. You see when we have a lot of rides on Saturday and Sunday into the touristic stations. Of course, it will be a tourist, so it's a leisure trip. When we have a lot of rides from the inner city or from Infineon to the Corinthian University, of course, you see it's the students or commuters, or from the inner city to Infineon, they're commuters. So you can see it out of the way of the time. And in addition, we with this anonymous data, we want to check the mobility as a service. So we can see, did people switch from the services? Did they go from the JC to public transportation? Because, you know, we know the times of public transportation. So when we have a lot of rides to a public bus, so we can see, okay, this is definitely a user which switches to public transportation. The same thing is that we have tourist buses in Carinthia. It's a very touristic region, and so we at Drobelach, Annenheim, and all the lakes over there, are also tourist buses. So maybe we can read out if people switch to tourist buses. Do they switch to the JCs? Do they switch to the taxis? So with that, we hope to, in addition to the controlled user group of the Steve app, that we get more data from the evaluation. Yeah, and maybe a little stage for my colleagues from Corinthian University. They make workshops. They go with us with a good evaluation mode, and there will be a next workshop in about two weeks, I think, and a few more workshops in the following month. And we already had a workshop. So in addition to all that service and all that data we get, we do our workshops here. So think yeah, I was a little longer. All in all, maybe I have to finalize with the info that this is a learning, and we also I think we should write this learning definitely in the deliverables, that working with an external provider and an e-bike sharing and all that stakeholders and all that complexity you have with building up stations and electricity and laws and you have people who own the ground and. From my point of view, there's a learning that implementing an e-bike sharing service is much more complex that we have thought, to be honest. So that is from my point of view all I have to say from Phil.
Okay, thank you, Matthias.